Hello, and welcome to a special live edition of Geeking Out. And I'm joined today by my very own pride and joy, Hannah, who some of you may recognize her name from the podcast because she designed the logo and helped me with some editing early on. And I thought it'd be very appropriate for a Working Moms in Tech panel. And I'm so excited to have all these lovely working moms in tech join me. And these are, moms that I greatly admire, who are like just kicking ass at tech and momming. And it is not an easy job, let me tell you, as all of you will attest to. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's get our moms to introduce themselves first and foremost. So let's start with Diana.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm super glad to finally be with Adriana Villela and the others on the podcast, Geeking Out. I heard so much about it, so yeah, I'm a fan, of course. I'm Diana. I'm a mom of 2 toddlers, 3-year-old and 5-year-old, and I'm based in Valencia, Spain. And I'm originally from Romania, and I'm a developer experience engineer at Victoria Metrics.
Awesome. Next we have Cortney.
Yes, hello. So happy to be back here talking about tech and momming and parenting and life with lovely women. I have to be completely transparent. When you told me that these are the 3 people we're going to be doing this with, I very much was like, oh, I met Diana and I totally geeked out when I met her at KubeCon a few months ago, and Rizel and Autumn. Like, I, again, am totally fangirling because I've followed both of you on socials and on LinkedIn and everything for so long. So it's really exciting time for me to be here with both of you.
Yay!
My name is Cortney. I am based in Spain also, just outside of San Sebastian, but I am originally from the US. I am the mom of a 21-year-old and a recently turned 7-year-old. So my life and parenting life is fairly bipolar because I've got a 7-year-old who thinks he's 27 and a 21-year-old who wishes she were 12 again. And I currently lead the community at Nirmata, which are the creators of the Kyverno project, the leading Kubernetes native policy engine on the CNCF landscape.
Awesome. Next, we have Rizel.
Yeah, hey, I'm excited to be on this podcast. It's always like really interesting. The last time I was on here, I had a great time, and I'm also excited to be here with these wonderful women who have been killing it. I was gonna say kicking it. But for me, I am a mom of 1, I guess, and my baby's 13 months old. I'm also on the DevRel team at Block. We're focused on like an AI agent called Goose. So I'm like the lead for that. And that's it for me.
Awesome. And when we first talked on the podcast, you were pregnant, right?
Oh yeah, I was pregnant, and we were talking about like the experience, what to expect. You were like even telling me like a couple tips, I remember.
Yeah. So exciting. And finally, we have Autumn.
Hi, I'm Autumn Nash. I'm a engineer at Microsoft. I work on Azure Linux, and I have 3 little kids. I have 3 little boys, a 3-year-old, oh, not a 3-year-old, 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and an 11-year-old. Also, like, just, Cortney, how do you have a 21-year-old? I would have thought you were like 25. Like, how do you have a 21-year-old? You said you fangirled over us, and I'm like, you need to teach me the secret.
I know, for real.
You just turn your light on as bright as humanly possible and washes off all of your
Girl,
wrinkles.
that's not a light. You
And
are
it makes
gorgeous.
it
Like,
really
I don't
shiny
know
with
how
other white hairs.
some sort of magical power.
Yeah, it's a lot of years of not sleeping.
Both ends, like, dang, girl.
It is a huge testament to us all that we are here and surviving and raising humans. So shall we get into into the meaty bits.
Let's do it.
All right, awesome. Hannah, do you want to ask some of the questions?
Sure.
All right, go for it.
Should I ask the first question?
Go for it.
Okay, I have no idea what this like, but it's about pregnancy, which I've never experienced. How did it go for you? Did you love it? Did you hate it?
Yes, who would like to start?
I can go, I guess, since I guess I was most recently pregnant.
Awesome.
I wasn't a fan. And nothing like I didn't have like an unhealthy pregnancy or anything with like any scares. I was just like, I can't believe people go through this. Like I'm so sleepy. Like and I'm so hungry, and then like I still have to work, which is fine. I like working, but I also like don't like conflict and stuff like that. And then it felt more exasperated when I'm pregnant, or like I'm like, I just want to take a nap, but I have to be on a meeting. So I didn't exactly love it. Like some people are like, I love being pregnant. I'm like, no, I don't love it. But it wasn't awful, but I didn't love it.
I feel you. I didn't love it either.
I was miserable the whole time. I puked for like the first 3 months. Like I lost like 13 pounds. Like I had 2 miscarriages. Somehow I still got pregnant 3 times. Like, you know, like you thought that I would learn the lesson the first time. But I really like babies and children.
Aw.
But it was horrible. Like 10 out of 10, never want to do that again. Like 0 stars.
Yeah. And you know, like, thank you for mentioning miscarriages, because I actually miscarried before I got pregnant with Hannah as well. And for me,
It's
it was like so
horrible.
traumatic
You
that I
can't
spent
enjoy the
entire
pregnancy at all. Like you're just
Sorry?
like from the second you pee on the stick, it's anxiety. Then it's anxiety when they're like born. Then you're like, don't die
Yeah.
as a toddler. Like I just feel like I've been holding my breath for 11 years.
Yeah, no, that's what it feels like. My entire pregnancy with Hannah, I was like, I didn't want to get attached, because I was like, what if I lose the baby? Like I lost my first miscarriage was before the first trimester, like very early on, but it's still like it fucked
It's
with
still
me.
hard.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
best friend had a stillbirth. Like it's like I don't think
Oh,
people realize like how traumatic that is, because like the whole time you're trying not to get attached, but you have to build this bond with your baby. And like there's some, and like if you think about it, like we don't have miscarriage leave. Like we don't have a
yeah,
lot of things that are set in place for those. Like your body goes through you gain so many hormones just in the first couple of weeks of pregnancy, and then all of a sudden they're gone.
yeah,
That's like
yeah.
so much to deal with. And, like not only do we not have good maternity leave in this country, but we also don't have leave for any of the other things that people go through.
Yeah, totally. Diana, how about you? What was your experience with pregnancy?
But yeah, I mean, both. Luckily for me, everything went great. So I wasn't anything like my mom. So yeah, no morning sickness, nothing.
No
So
way.
I like did sports, I did stuff like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was both counts healthy pregnancies. So I powered through. I worked full time until the very end. So it's like, Jesus Christ, woman, what's wrong?
That was my goal too. I wanted to work till my water broke. That was my goal. Did not happen.
Yeah, so it was like really great. Obviously, it's like I agree with Rizel, because you can't follow like this weird like mood swings, but like the weakness of your body. Like you need to sleep. Like suddenly, like these huge periods of sleepness. Yeah, you want to like definitely sleep, and then you have work, but sometimes it like counter kicked with the hormones that made me like a super woman. I don't know, it was like full on.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I mean the pregnancies were totally fine. Yeah,
That's awesome. And how about you, Cortney?
I did not. I would say I loved it in about 5-minute intervals twice a day.
Super fair.
Cortney, I want to be your friend. The way you describe things.
No, that was my experience. I between the utter shock of, oh my gosh, I have a 13, 14-year-old daughter, and now I'm doing this again. was for me very much a mental uphill, like preparing for everything that was about to come along the way. And then pregnancy itself. Here Autumn's like, I lost 13 pounds. Any weight I might have lost due to morning sickness, I gained triple in water weight.
Oh my
Like
God.
I was so swollen
Oh,
from
that's
day one.
horrible.
Never went away. And on top of it, my son was born end of October. And so it was like hot, humid summer constantly.
Oh,
So
no.
any type of like movement or anything else, I was already sweating. I was sweating constantly, and it didn't matter how much I was sweating. It didn't matter what was going on. I was just utterly swollen. My feet were swollen. I felt huge from like the moment I realized that I was pregnant until the very end. And so I hated that. And frankly, I was working, and I did work all the way until basically HR sent me home. They were like, we don't want your water to break here, so like go home. The week I was due, and my son showed up 10 days late. So
Oh my God.
I used work as a way to literally keep my mind occupied and not be thinking about how much life was going to flip upside down all over again, and how utterly uncomfortable I was.
Yeah.
And so my 5 minutes of loving my pregnancy in 2 intervals was typically like a random calm moment in the morning when everybody else would be having coffee and I was stuck with decaf or tea. And so everybody else is having a great time caffeinating themselves, and I'd be sitting there, and suddenly I would feel my son move, and it was like, oh yeah, I'm not all by myself. I'm not the only uncaffeinated one.
I think baby movement was like my favorite part of pregnancy. Like I was grateful to be pregnant. I didn't love being pregnant, but like when this one would kick my belly, especially in the middle of a meeting when I was super pregnant and you could see like the heel of her foot sticking out of my belly, I'm like, oh. But
I used to call my kids like the cutest little aliens because you just got like a foot coming out and you're just like, what's
like that's the
What are
best
you
part
doing
for
in
me.
there?
Everything else I could deal without, like for real.
I mean, you
I
don't
like
like
how you
morning
all
sickness
went-
and like not being able to use
I
your bladder.
wasn't super like into the, I didn't have a lot of morning sickness, but I had a bit of nausea, and I had like, I was shoe shopping one time and I got hit with nausea, and because of it, I couldn't shoe shop for a year after that.
Oh, I couldn't eat Panda Express for 4 years. Like I
Oh my
peaked
God.
once and I was like, I can't even look in the direction of Panda Express. Like
It's so weird the things that get you right when you're pregnant. Okay, our next question.
Want me to read it?
Yeah.
Did you juggle pregnancy while working? If so, what was it like?
Let's start with Diana.
Yeah, I mean, I worked, like I said, I worked until the very end. Also, my firstborn, my daughter was born, I think, 4 days or something like this later. But yeah, I was like power through. To be honest, in this, like with my son, the second pregnancy, I didn't do it like that. So the last month, I just kind of like took it off. You know, it's like, come on, I'm only human. It's like
Yeah.
people. And I was a bit, I mean, that was fine because he was born like with a couple of days earlier. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say, I mean, for anyone listening, I wouldn't suggest for like women to power through the final day, because you're just a human being. You need to take care of yourself. Your feet get swollen. Your body, takes so much stress, and your mind as well. So you really need to take care of yourself. And like, you think that the most stressful part is until you give birth or the moment of giving birth. It's totally afterwards,
It's
like
so
raising
true.
them, like, save your time, your energy, everything. So that's something I wish somebody would have told me, like, woman, just
Ill.
break.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I wanted to work up until the very end, but then like the third trimester fatigue got the best of me, and I ended up taking, I think, 2 weeks before my due date off, which I'm very glad I did, because I was just fucking tired. Like I just needed rest. So I I definitely recommend that. And Cortney, you mentioned you worked until HR kicked you out.
Yeah, pretty much. I worked as long as they would let me work, because I needed the mental disconnect from it. Also because I was fully aware, right? When you have a kid that's older and that much older, you're already fully aware of what this actually is going to take. So there was a certain amount, when you have a lot going on and you just keep telling it, you feel like you're about to get sick and you're like, I just got to get this done. I just got to get this done. Then when you finally stop, then all of a sudden you get deathly ill. And that's
yes.
where I was at. It was like, I just got to keep going because the minute I stop, it's all going to fall apart. That said, that was me and the mental space that I was in because I had a kid that was older and I already knew what the future held for me. I would tell any new or expecting mother, like, take a few weeks off to get yourself situated to rest, because once your kid shows up, you don't rest again. Like my daughter is 21. I adopted her when she was 2, and I was like basically the same age she is now. I was a kid thinking that I was ready to parent, and it was such an odd thing. My parents have had so many opinions about so many things that I've done, and that one they didn't seem to have an opinion on. Which I look back now and I'm like, what was that about? There's so many other non-significant decisions in my life that they had really big opinions on, but me adopting a 2-year-old when I was 23 was not one that they decided to like step in and say anything about. But if I hadn't have had a kid at home that was a teenager and going through all that and hadn't already lived the whole childhood thing, I probably would have taken some time to sort out my house and get things situated. Because I think it's so important to do that. And also because you will not, like, you never actually sleep the same after you have a kid. Even when they're older and they're totally capable of taking care of themselves and they're not scared of the dark anymore, as soon as they start going out with their friends, it's a totally different kind of worry. And it's totally different. Like, you might fall asleep, but you're waiting in case you get a WhatsApp message because you don't want to sleep through it because anything could be going on in their life. What if they need you? And so I would say take some time to enjoy the fact that you don't have to worry about anybody other than yourself for that last short period of time, because once you become a mom, that's gone. It's gone, and it's gone for the rest of your existence. And that's a beautiful thing, but also it is it's real. When it hits hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also had, like, I guess part of it was like uncharted territory for you too, right? Because, like, as you mentioned, you adopted your daughter when she was 2, so you didn't know what to expect. You hadn't gone through pregnancy before. You only started toddlerhood.
Very true. I knew all about the 2s and the 3-nagers and all of the craziness that comes once a human is capable of moving by themselves. Right, moving from one place to the next, as silly as that sounds, becomes a totally different ballgame. And I knew all about that. I did not. I hadn't had the firsthand experience of breastfeeding and being up all night long and still having to show up for your other kid and for your partner and for yourself the next day, no matter how tired and drained you actually are, and redefining what that showing up is. I think for me was probably the biggest growth looking back now was realizing showing up for everyone drastically changes when you're parenting a newborn.
So true.
Parenting an older kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Rizel, how about you? How was it for you, like, working and
Yeah, I will say
Pregnancy.
when you guys were talking about like not sleeping again and never getting that rest again, it just triggered a memory when I think my baby was like 2 weeks old and I finally got her to sleep. And then my husband came in like talking super loud. And then I started crying. I was like, I'm never going to sleep again. And he like started laughing at me. He's like, this is dramatic. But I'm like, actually, it wasn't. I never really slept again.
This is a thing that people don't realize. Like when people take prisoners of war, one of the things that's defined as torture is sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
It's truly defined as
So
torture in the state of war. But mothers go through an insane amount of sleep deprivation for like truly a good year and a half of life. And partners and everybody around them just kind of like laugh. They're like, you're being so extreme. And it's like, actually, no, I'm technically being tortured. And that's not even taking into account all of my hormones and everything else that's going on.
Yeah.
Technically, being sleep deprived, I think, is like equivalent to being drunk after a certain point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they actually say that it has the same effects on your body as somebody who's like drinking too much alcohol.
Yeah.
I agree, because this one, when she's tired, it does act like a drunk person. Definitely a test.
I'm always
How
like,
about
do you need
you,
a
Autumn?
nap?
Sorry?
I always ask my kids, I'm like, you're being a lot right now. Do you need a nap?
Yeah,
Like,
right? Yeah, exactly.
are you hungry?
We know it's time.
Sleep. Even as a teenager, like
Yeah, that's right. Even as a teenager.
you need your naps.
You do.
love
she
you,
naps
Hannah.
during her spare period.
I didn't work in the traditional sense, but I was a military spouse at the time, and I was moving across the country, and Millsauce Coders was doing a hackathon with Microsoft. So, and I was finishing school, so I had like a data structures book in labor, and I was on the phone with the product manager from Microsoft, and shout out to Monica because she kicked me off the phone and was like, "Go have a baby. What is wrong with you?"
God damn it, woman.
We're still friends and she's great, but she definitely side-eyed me like, what's wrong with you? And I don't recommend being a complete psycho and moving across the country and like trying to graduate college with a newborn, because I ended up getting preeclampsia and going back to the hospital 10 days later, and I was super sick for like 6 months. So I think those effects do really affect your body when you don't take time, and I'm not the best at taking time, so learn from my mistakes, people.
There you go. Very good point. Next question. We're going to be talking about working post kids. So, what was it like? Rizel, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, I did something that people probably wouldn't recommend, but I'm okay with it. So I think I didn't say I did work throughout my pregnancy, and I was planning to work until the end, until the benefits leave person was like, she's like, why aren't you taking the extra 2 weeks before? And I was like, that's the thing. And so I took it. And then in those 2 weeks, I was like, oh, that was good that I did, because I'm tired. But
that wasn't vacation. That was like a benefit from your work.
That was a benefit. Yeah. You get like the 2 weeks before your due date. I was like, oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
But for after, people were telling me I'm crazy. I found maternity leave a little boring after a while. Like the first month or two. You did? Okay. The first month or two, I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And then after that, I was like, all right, there's nothing to do. And everyone's like, go outside. But I live in Boston and it was winter. Like I had my baby in December. So I'm like, I'm not really going to go outside and like 10 inches of snow. Like there's not, like, I don't know. There's just nothing for me to really do. So I kind of asked my manager if I can come back part-time. And no, that's crazy. I actually liked it because she didn't put any like, oh, you have to do this, this, and this. I was just logging in and like listening to the meetings. It gave me like something to do. And then like when I didn't have the time, I would just go hang out with my baby. So that was good for me. But I've like officially returned after. They give a good amount of leave. I think I was lucky where my company had just decided to increase from like 3 months to like 5 months or 6 months or something like that. So when I came back, I was like refreshed and ready, and I got a promotion. And so I was like, all right, I'm good. I'm ready to jump in. But once I went back full time, then it got really intense. Like the part time was fine, but the full time, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a lot.
Is your daughter in daycare, or is she at home with
She-
you, like while you
She's at
work?
home. Okay, so like I basically pay my mom to watch my baby because I don't trust daycares. I've seen how daycares are, so I was like really nervous. So I just have my mom come over and like watch um my baby, and it works out because she wants to hang out with her grandchild.
Oh, that's great. Hannah was a daycare kid, and the first day I dropped her off at daycare, I cried.
But I'm gonna make you do that when I have a
Take care of your
child.
babies?
Yes,
Crap.
great idea.
But pay her, pay
Mom,
her.
you're gonna pay
I'll
me,
pay
right?
you.
Okay, it's a deal.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, but I can totally relate to being bored during mat leave. I had like a mom and babies group that I joined, and like we did stuff every week, and that's the only thing that kept me sane. But bloody hell, I was like, I'm sorry, Hannah, I couldn't wait till nap time so I could work out.
Because babies don't do anything. I was just sitting in there like breastfeeding, and I'm like, man, this takes really long. I want to get up. I'm just not used to like resting, I guess.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you. And by the way, like the mat leave that you had, I think for our audience who is not US based, like that's probably very generous for the US, right?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
How much do we have in Canada?
In Canada, we get a year. Well, actually, you can get up to 18 months now in Canada. But when I was on mat leave, I got a year. But I got paid like 90% pay for the first 6 weeks, and then after that, I was on unemployment insurance, which is like spending money. But still, like, you know, you have your job guaranteed when you get back. Of course, there are companies that do some shady ass shit, and you know, like, oh, welcome back, you're fired the next day. I've had friends who have gone through that. Fortunately, that never happened to me, but yeah, I mean, the law, people get around the law in sneaky ways. How about you, Autumn? Like, was it a different experience with each kid? Like, because you said you were a military spouse, you were studying, you were like doing some other stuff on the side, but was that like for each kid, or like what was
I
your
had a graphic design business with my first kid and graduated
damn.
college the first time. And then my second son, I started my computer science degree. So I think they were all different, but they all involved moving, and it was crazy. But I think that like what Rizel was saying is true. Like I think motherhood can be isolating, right? So like even though I don't think maternity leave is a vacation because you're so tired and it's just very intense, you know? Like and there's so much change going on in your life. Like I think people that don't have kids look at maternity leave and they think you're just gonna go like party for 6 months, which is like not true, right? But it's super isolating. Like you go from going out with your friends or having some sort of social connections or talking to people in meetings to just being at home, and all of your day revolves around somebody else's needs, you know?
Yeah,
And the US doesn't have like paid maternity leave. So if your job has good maternity leave, that's great. But some people go back to work like right after they had a kid. And sometimes it's 6 weeks if you're lucky. Like that's like Rizzle's maternity leave was like amazing compared to most people. Like most people, they have like 6 weeks and it's not even paid all the time, you know?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
Like
but
your body's not even fully healed by that point.
your
Like,
body's actually not fully healed for 2 to 7 years after having a kid. The hole is so big that like they used to think it was 2.5 years, and now they like you when they take when you dig up like skeletons, like archaeologists will go and like go and do investigations into ancient civilizations, and they can tell who had a child because that's how much like it changes your actual like bones when you have
yeah,
a baby. So like
yeah,
that's wild, right? Like you don't even
it
need your
is.
skin or muscles or anything, just your bones reflect that you had a child. So
Yeah,
And especially like if you had a C-section, like you've literally been cut open.
through
yeah,
like multiple layers and muscle, like
yeah,
that's
Yeah,
yeah.
you've had surgery.
Like, how the fuck do you recover from that in 6 weeks? And by the way, you're expected to go back to work. We like
And think
that.
about the jobs that have that, like, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think we are all like blessed, especially like if we haven't been forced to RTO, right? Like that life and showing up to an office, or like look at people who are waiters or waitresses or CNAs, like you're carrying like how do you lift 50 pounds after you just had like your entire like lower muscles, So like I think that it really depends on your job and where you are in life, and a lot of the jobs that are like really hard physical jobs are the jobs that have the least amount of maternity leave, or the jobs that are in person. So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
Absolutely. How about you, Diana? When you had your kids, I'm assuming you're already living in Spain. What was the experience like for you, like returning to work, maternity leave?
Yeah. So Spain. Anyway, so when I got pregnant, actually, COVID stroke. Yay!
Ooh.
So yeah, I had my kids really late. Actually, 37, 38. So I'm a late bloomer, mom late bloomer. So yeah, it's like I got pregnant, and like in a couple of days, we're like, oh, China has closed their borders. It's COVID, man. So we are like, okay, you cannot leave your house anymore. So like all this like really panic stuff, it's like, interesting. So we are like secluded somewhere outside Barcelona. Which was fine, it was kind of like relaxing for the rest of my pregnancy, but also I had zero social life for the remainder. And after I gave birth, I was like, we were like isolated and, in our home. But Spain has just 4 months of maternity leave, obviously like full time, which I took for after my first pregnancy. So I said, no, man, I need to rest. I need to do my duty. I need to be with my baby full time, So that was also cool, but also bad because 4 months, fly by really fast. And then I was like, I don't want to be at work, I mean, it sucks. I mean, it's really bad for the babies. Like, I totally feel it. Luckily for us, I mean, in that time, everything moved to remote work, right? So luckily for us, we are working with computers. So finally, we got to stay at home. I wouldn't imagine ever in my life actually breastfeeding and going to an office, or having to drop my baby to the daycare, going back, I don't know, breastfeeding, or like storing milk, or how do you do that? So I was like totally everything aligned in a way that for me worked perfectly, but I was like, I'm never gonna return to the office anymore. So I don't see what's the point of it, plus you have a baby, it's like you need to be with the baby. So I feel like really bad that although I was in the same like in the house and everything, I felt bad. I was like, what am I supposed to do? So I was like holding the baby, typing, moving to the couch, moving to the sofa. I mean, silly stuff. And people, I mean, do they really need me for like, is something really important that I need to do, or is just like a tick on, the system bureaucracy? So anyway, things need to change dramatically about that. So in my second pregnancy, I said, man, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the part-time stuff. So I took I think the first month is obligatory to be full-time. I took that, and then I took like everything part-time. And then I added, you have like specific other, like a few other days in Spain. So overall it was like stretched to 7 months, more or less, with my PTO and whatever. I was like, I can work, I could do like four hours a day, but I still am with my baby. And I realized that bond is really important. And luckily for me, I did that because my son was very different. And it is very different from my daughter. My daughter was like, very independent. She slept through the entire night when she was like 2 months old. It was like a weird baby, it was like, what?
That's awesome.
How is that happening? But my son was like, not like that at all. So he wasn't like sleeping until right now, basically. So it's like I always had to be there, and luckily we formed that bond, and and I still felt really bad. So it was like, come on, 4 months is nothing, it's like and I think it's bad for the parents as well. And probably we'll discuss this, but my husband was there, my partner, and everything. He helped a lot. But still, it wasn't fair for the baby, and I don't think that's fair for the baby. In Romania and probably some other European countries, they have like actually 1 year, searchable to 2, but the same like you said, Adriana, after a while they make you take like reduced salary, you know, but still you can stay with the baby up to 2 years and things like this. So yep.
Yeah. That's interesting though. I didn't know that Spain had like a 4-month mat leave.
I would have assumed
I
it
thought
was
it would be
longer.
I know.
longer.
I really like would have expected longer. That's so surprising.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree. Like, you know, even though I was like bored to death during my mat leave year, I'm very grateful to have taken that year, because like I would have missed, like, I have to say, like, it was boring 90% of the time, but like seeing Hannah hit her milestones was super cool. Like her first, you know, laugh and walking, and she didn't crawl. She's like, bro, I want to walk.
On brand, Hannah.
Yeah, very on brand. But like seeing your kid hit those milestones is like such a gift. And if you're able to do that, I think it honestly is such a privilege. And as we mentioned, like not everyone is in that position.
But
It also-
daycare, like,
It also statistically, you have a better chance of your baby actually surviving SIDS and several other things. Like it's actually like good for for society and for babies, because it increases their chances of not dying from SIDS and several other things.
Oh, that's interesting.
but like daycare, like for any mom who can't take that long, daycare's still a good option. Like my current best friend I met in daycare
When they were 2.
and we've been friends ever since. And so it's like because I know it can be like scary of like, oh, leaving your baby in like this place, and there have been like bad reputations, but like if you can't take that time, don't feel guilty for it, because
Mom guilt is
daycare can
hard.
be very helpful.
Aw. And I will say, like, finding the right daycare though is like so fucking hard. We were so stressed. Like in Toronto, you're supposed to get yourself like on a bunch of lists, like waiting lists for daycares. And then apparently afterwards, after your baby is born, you have to call them to say your baby was born and to confirm that you want to still be on the list. And we're like, and that was my husband's job. And he's like, he kept getting like following up with the daycares to see if there were going to be spots like for when I was done mat leave. And and they're like, well, you never called to confirm that your baby was born. We're like, what the fuck? We told you that we had a baby on the way. What else? Like, what else do you need, man? Like,
Not just that, but like I also had a COVID baby. Like he was born like right before COVID happened, which was good because I wouldn't have had a career at Amazon if it wasn't for that, because obviously I couldn't have gone and moved to Virginia, right? But so I was super grateful for that, because I do think that the return of RTO is going to stop a lot of women getting into tech and like being in tech. But like there were wait lists for 2.5 years for kids, and at Amazon it was like $2,800 for one kid.
damn. Yeah, that's the other thing. Cost of daycare is prohibitive.
And I
for
live in a
lot of
daycare
parents.
desert, so I would have had to drive to like Seattle to use that daycare. So it's crazy. Like it's not even just the cost of daycare. Like Snohomish County technically is a daycare desert. Like, you know how you can have a food desert and not have enough grocery stores? Like we don't have enough daycares.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even consider that, but that
On
is,
top of it being like
wow.
a mortgage. Like so.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Courtney, how about you? What was your experience? Because like I would imagine vastly different experiences with both kids.
Yeah. My daughter, I had just taken a job and I worked all the time, and that poor girl came to work with me all the time. I was in an office and she was 2, and so she was going to school, but I would pick her up and then go back to the office. And she's very, very artistic. But I do think a huge amount of that is because I'd still have meetings in the afternoon, and I'd be like, here, and see this, I'm going to draw a squiggly line, and now you make something, and I'll be back in a minute. Right? And she'd be like sitting in the corner drawing something out of the squiggly line that I made. And she'd be like, I'm done. I'd be like, great, now color it. Really.
Mad respect.
Everywhere with a notebook and colors, and because that was what she could do. And we'd play the game where you have dots and you make squares, because I could play it with her while I was having meetings with people. Right?
Oh my god.
And so And by the time she was my son's age, she was alphabetizing payments and like archiving things and folders and totally like helping after school.
Can we count this as an internship for her? Because I feel like you made her like a girl boss. Like,
put that on her
like,
resume.
Yeah, for
is
real.
this like I feel like you're not
Totally.
giving yourself enough credit, Courtney. Like, you just sound
Yeah.
amazing.
I know, for real, girl.
Personal assistant who got paid in like fun snacks.
Okay, but tech
There's
companies used to have really good
there's a
snacks. Like
chocolate as
Cole like went on a spree of how many Amazon buildings he could visit, and like that kid always got like the best snacks.
That was very much my daughter lived a very I mean she lived a life of me working because my husband at the time worked shifts, but he almost always worked the afternoon shift, which meant he didn't even get off of work until 10 p.m. and he didn't get home until 11. So the whole afternoon, that was all me, no matter what, every day, all day for her life. My son, on the other hand, I had worked all the way up until I was about to have him and got sent home to have him. And as Diana said, maternity leave is about 4 months. I think they've extended it slightly. And my husband was one of the first men to be like, when my son was born, to also get paternity leave. But he didn't take it at the same time that I was on maternity leave. He took it afterwards when my son was already starting to go to daycare part of the time. But that's okay. He bridged the gap that needed to be bridged, and that's what matters. But with my son, I had taken a job and found out that I was pregnant with him shortly after. And the job I had taken required me to travel back and forth to Madrid quite a bit. It was before I was in tech, and I was developing business and creating co-working spaces and doing a bunch of different commercial oriented things for a company. And obviously with the newborn, I couldn't do that anymore. And so they just didn't renew my contract. And they basically told me it would pay you through maternity leave because it's illegal to end a contract when somebody's on maternity leave, but that they weren't going to renew the contract because I wasn't going to be able to travel back and forth to Madrid the way they wanted me to. In which case, that was at the time very, very upsetting because it was probably the first time I had a job in Spain as an immigrant that I actually liked. And that I felt was fulfilling on a personal level and had been enjoying it, and how I was back at square one again. And so at the time, it was very, very emotionally upsetting that was happening. But what it ended up doing was getting me into tech because I had a newborn and I didn't want to get into a situation where I was overly worked trying to prove myself in a new job where I was running a company yet again, and then they'd end my contract. I was so upset about it. And so I basically took a massive step backwards at what it seemed like at the time in my career, from running companies to turning into an SDR, and was working from home. It started off as a part-time job for a tech startup that was local, and they needed somebody who could speak English on the telephone at a native level to do discovery calls for them, because they were all Spaniards who didn't feel comfortable speaking English on the phone. And I was local. And so I started doing that from home. My son started daycare, which was down the street. We live in a village. And so I was very lucky. He could go to daycare down the street. And so he started doing that at about 9 months. And I'd work in the morning doing cold calls about tech and web application security tooling. And then that startup slowly started to grow, and I turned into a sales executive. And then I really got into the technical side of things. And since it was just a bunch of engineers, they teach me anything I asked. And I got involved in a tech community, which at the time it was Data on Kubernetes community. And I had a very good friend who also happened to fall into tech, who lives in the same region. And he had been offered this community. He knew nothing about the technical side of things and was not fascinated by it at the time. And I was. And so I did the back office. And he was very much the face of that community. And I did all of the newsletter writing. And I'm so grateful to him, because it gave me something to grow my career without being totally overwhelmed. And he would adjust meetings to any time that I needed. So I basically was breastfeeding every time we had a call about anything, because it was like, this is the time I can sit down and be calm and my kid's not going to cry. But also it's like the witching hour. So I can't actually put him to sleep because as soon as he's not with me, he'll cry. So can we just do it this way? And he was so accommodating. But that's actually how I got started in tech. It was because a job that I really loved ended my contract because I had my son and wouldn't be able to travel as much as they wanted. And decided to take a step back to reassess and find conditions that were more conducive to being a mom at the time in the situation I was in, because I don't have family around either. I don't have a mom or in-laws that I can call to help with childcare. And so I needed to be able to adjust and be there for my son and also for my teenager, which oftentimes they take just as much time, just in a different way. And still have opportunities for my career to grow. And because I took that step back to find the working conditions that were conducive to that growth, my life totally changed. And now here I am, a few years later, working in a tech industry in a community space that's quite technical, and I never know the answer to anything. I'm constantly behind in terms of learning. But it was the best thing that could have happened. At the time, it didn't feel that way.
You are amazing. Like, you keep saying that this person gave you a chance and this person did this and that person did this. You did all that stuff. You are resilient. Like, you are amazing. That whole thing should be a soundbite on why people should pay you a lot of money. Like, girl, like, let me be your PR team. Like, like, you are amazing. You're
That's like
resilient.
mad hustle,
Like,
girl.
you know what I mean? Like, people would have let half of that stuff just like ruin it, and they would have been like, this is horrible. And you're like, wait, like, let me find, like, I'm so sorry that happened to you, because that just sounds demoralizing, and I've been there before. But also, like, I hope you give yourself more credit. Like, nobody did you any favors. You went in there and learned and did that, and you were really just amazing.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, you're wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go for our next question.
Okay, what advice would you give to your kids in the future about parenting and working?
Ooh. Okay,
Yeah.
let's start. Yeah,
Okay.
go for it, Diana.
Yeah, I mean, I could jump on this one because I feel like I'm not sure about everyone, but it's like I think we all did like lots of compromises because a lot of things. For example, I was like always a hard-working person, hard study, whatever. Never took breaks, never had fun, never lived life at full, etc., etc. And right now I'm like in my 40s. I'm like, damn, that's it, I mean, I have fun when I go to conferences, which is like, meh. I mean,
oh my God, it's like my life.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that's not an ideal, an objective that you want to have in your life, So I would say to my kids, just live your life, enjoy your youth. It's like you can totally learn stuff later. You can totally, I don't know, move careers, like switch careers, do things like even in your 40s or whatever. It's never too late. All that bloody blah movie stuff, it's true, because at the end of the day, you're going to be crying out your eyes when you're going to be older. And it's like, oh, I never did this and that. I never enjoyed life. I never had friends, like basically me. So I would be like, man, stop worrying about silly stuff, just like I worked all my life so I could supply for, bring home the bacon. So here you go and have fun, not in a bad way, but, responsible still, I'm a parent. But yeah, just live life. And, the calling is never like they say that it is the calling of something. No, it's always that's. But you're gonna have like lots of, how can I say, like disappointments, even in career and stuff. What you think you really love or what you want to do, then proves to be out something really disappointing, and then you're gonna just like randomly, you're gonna stumble into something else, and then you're gonna find out that's actually the real you. So yeah, never take things too serious or black and white, or like focus really hard on something and put yourself through the guilt process, because yes, I've done that. So it's like, yeah, we all need to live like a bit more like easier, in the sense that be more relaxed and things like this. And yeah, life is very short.
I can relate so hard to that, and I give Hannah the same advice, because a few years ago she was freaking out in 10th grade about like, oh, they're making us like choose our courses and for in high school, so that we're supposed to know what to do for university. And I'm like, biggest secret in the world, you can change your mind.
And I changed it many times.
She did. And actually Hannah optimized on something that I sucked at in high school and university. And I can so relate to what you said, Diana. Like, I was so focused on like school, work. And I remember like telling Hannah when she finished middle school, like all her teachers were like, like your marks matter in like grade 9, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, they don't. No one gives a shit about your marks till like later.
Yeah, in Canada,
Chill.
They don't look at like grade 9. They only look at grade 12.
Yeah, so I'm like, chill, man. Like you can chill. And Hannah has like figured out a way to optimize where it's like, where do I put in the extra effort because I need it for now, versus like if I put a little less effort, I can still do well, maybe not have the highest mark, but I can do well enough and chill, which I wish I had that. and she's figured that out, man. I'm so jelly.
Yeah, and maybe just one thing I want to add is I would do like Cortney. So as like keep your youngster like next to you and show them stuff really early on. Because this is how they learn. So I was like, when I went with my mother's office, by the way, my mom is my role model because she worked her ass off all her life, and she got like from like the first entry level up to the highest. And I was like, man, my mom is a badass, So, and like in high school, whenever I pop by her office, she was like showing me this and that, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. But it's like really late, It's like high school. I already was like, but show them stuff really early on. Give them like responsibilities. Show them like really practical stuff. Doesn't matter what, anything. And that counts like internship. That's practical, whatever. So I would like. I'm a very practical person. I always like this kind of stories, like the person did it all by themselves. They were like self-taught. They did it all. It's like, I mean, that's cool. That's actually life about, not just like reading books and going and earning like diplomas and stuff like this, which is a waste of time, to be honest.
Yeah. And then also like, because I don't want to do anything with tech. I'm doing like bio, I'm doing nursing, and like it's very different. But I feel like I've learned a lot from her. And so it's like, you don't have to be doing the exact same thing as your parents to like learn from them. And I feel like I've gotten a lot of experiences. I've gotten really good at public speaking because you've allowed me to do talks with you. Aww. And I've like watched you, and I've gotten hands on like doing media design because like for the podcast and stuff. So I feel like you don't, like from a kid's perspective, you don't need to follow your parents to learn from them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I love that. Autumn, how about you? What are your thoughts?
This is going to sound really weird, but I want my kids to always be curious and try to solve problems, because I think curiosity and like really understanding where things come from is going to be really important in the future. But being a single mom with 3 little boys, I honestly want them to learn how to be good humans and good partners, because I think it benefits the male sex a lot to be good partners. And I think it's the only way that women are going to close the wage gap if we have good partners. And I think like I became a single mom, and my life was a lot harder not having that. And I want to produce better sons, because I honestly think that like the next generation of girls are not going to put up with the same things that we did. And I want them to have a good life. And I think that them getting a good partner and really like, I think that we train boys to be providers in a certain way, And I think that I want them to grow up and be providers in a more like 3D way, where they're like providing emotional support, and they're good partners because I think that they come with me everywhere. They see my work ethic, and I think part of that he's so cute. Oh my
Oh
God,
my
sorry.
God, hi.
I love kids. He's so cute. Okay. But like they come with me to my talks and they go with me to, like Cole was like, tell me how many people are on your live today. And like he loves to like they show up to all the podcast meetings and talk to Justin, So like
Oh my God.
I think that seeing like their mom like actually do those things and seeing that women like are in the workplace and then seeing like how my little brother helps me or like my boyfriend helps me out a lot. Like I want those examples in their life because I think that that is how they will get the best whole life, Like I
Yeah.
think that they will be great professionally, but I don't think that's all of it. And I don't think we always give little boys the whole pieces. And I think with AI and a lot of misinformation out there, being curious is going to be like super important to who is successful in the future.
I love that so much.
Me too.
Yeah. It's so important as a boy mom to like really teach them to be respectful of women and being, as you said, like that 3D provider.
It adds literal years
that.
to men's lives by having good partners, right? Like, like this is going to be like probably a 2-income society. So like, it's more than just, oh, go be good at school, like be emotionally intelligent, be a good human, stand up for other people. Like, I think that, I don't know, I think we do a disservice to little boys sometimes, like we teach women to be such multifaceted like beings, and then we tell little boys be good at this one thing. Like why would you, like people are like, why do you teach your kids how to cook? To feed themselves? Like what do you like,
exactly.
Why would you do that? Like,
I mean, like, just as an example, like my father-in-law, when my mother-in-law died, he didn't know how to cook.
That's what I'm saying. Laundry. Like life skills. Like it just baffles me. People will be like, why do your kids have a like toy kitchen? That's a part of being a human.
I never got a toy kitchen.
Oh yeah, she's so mad at that. But Hannah's a mad good cook. Like she's such a good cook and baker.
I would have been better if I had a toy kitchen.
I've seen your cakes. Your mom sends pictures of all of their stuff. Okay.
Hannah's so good cooking. Ridiculous. Cortney, how about you? What advice would you give to your kids in the future about parenting and working?
Yeah, about parenting and working specifically, I think what I would tell them is it always feels like it's falling apart, and that's okay. Your kids don't need you to be perfect. They just need you to be real and be honest with who you are and what's actually going on, so that they see that doing your best for somebody else is enough, and that they understand that they're enough doing and being who they are, because they see you doing and being who you are, and they think that you're enough. And so it's okay that it feels like it's a disaster and a dumpster fire and that it's all falling apart, because they don't need something perfect. They need something real.
Yes.
I think I didn't really know that for a very long time. I worked so hard to try to keep it all together and make it feel and seem constantly like everything was all together, and realized one day that I wasn't fooling my kids. I wasn't fooling them at all, and I was only fooling myself, and that also I was doing a disservice to myself by adding that amount of stress, but also to them because I wasn't fooling them and they wanted to help. And that's a very human thing, and especially kids, they want to help, they want to make life for everyone better, and if you don't let them see where there are cracks so that they can be part of the solution, then you're doing a disservice to them as well, because then that turns into stress for them. And it took me a long time to realize that, but also commenting about what Diana said about constantly working and getting to a point where you feel like a certain amount of life has passed you by and you didn't enjoy it, and that you don't have any friends and you enjoy yourself at conferences. I identify with that so deeply on so many levels. I think also in my case, because I did immigrate, and so I live abroad and I live very far away from anything that for me feels like home. I've had to create a home, and But then when you're parenting, it is so hard to have time for friends and friendships. And for me, programs like this and live streams where we connect with other people who are living the same things are so important, because it makes you realize you're not really alone in those feelings. And also, Diana, super excited to enjoy the next conference with you, because that also is like my social time, and when I get to like
Totally.
take a break and a breather and be talking about and doing other things with people. And I think a lot of us feel that way. And then about what you were saying earlier, also, Autumn, about little boys. Boys are disserviced often. They need to be able to have the opportunity to learn how to show up for other people and not just themselves. And understand the courage that it takes to cry and feel like your world's falling apart and that things are out of control. And little girls, I think there's a certain amount of we innately start to teach them that, because not just society, but also when you're pregnant, all of it is out of your control. You can't, it's your body, but you can only control what you put in it and how you rest it and water it, basically. And everything else that's going on inside of you is totally out of your control. And it doesn't matter how much you worry about it or not, but at least it's in your body. And then everybody associates it as it's your kid. So you can openly talk about how nervous and worried you are about not being in control of those things. Whereas the other parent, the father figure, oftentimes doesn't have that connection, and it's all out of their control also. But if they didn't have the opportunity to learn emotional intelligence, to be able to have that conversation, even say, this is also terrifying for me. And what they do in response to that is disappear because they don't know how to manage the situation. Or what they do to that is get upset because they don't know how to manage the situation. There's so many responses that so many of us have lived with people, especially men, who really it's just that they're afraid and they haven't ever been allowed to say so. And the world doesn't actually prepare them to be able to say so that they can show up for themselves and for other people. And so I think parenting little boys and little girls, they're totally different ball games, because these things are real in our society, and putting an importance on understanding those differences so that we as mothers can do our best to help them navigate. Because also, like Autumn said, girls in the next generation won't put up with those things. Well, hopefully they don't. But also, hopefully they're not totally alone, because we didn't prepare the boys of the next generation to be able to be what they need, so they're not putting up with something. Rather, they're all working together. And so that's, I think, the biggest unspoken responsibility of parents this day and age is actually navigating that aspect of future generations and keeping it present amongst all of the peanut allergies and the dyslexia. And the lack of sleeps, and I don't want to eat my vegetables, which are all daily problems. But the big global picture, it's so much bigger than that. And I think the world is fortunate to have people like all of you navigating that. So
I think you just healed something in me by saying that, like, you'll feel like you're failing and everything's a dumpster fire. And I'm like, is she talking to me?
Another thing, because you talking about like the difference of raising like boys and girls, I think something that's very important is at a young age, making sure that it's not like separating, oh, boys are friends and girls are friends, like having like a guy friend like at a young age, and like kind of breaking the stigma that you have to be like, you're different so you can't be friends.
Yeah.
Because I think for a long time I had only friends who were girls, and even at school they're like, well, this is the only other girl in the class, you guys be friends. And I think like now that I'm starting to have more guy friends, I feel like it's very like helpful. And then also you teach each other stuff, like you like in making like men who are better partners, if they have friends that are girls at a young age, they like understand how to treat women, and it's not like teenage years, you're in like, you have all these hormones, and then you're thrown, and suddenly you're like around girls. And I think that's just like something very important, because like I work with kids, and I see like a lot of separation of like girls will be friends and boys will be friends. And I get very happy when there's like a boy and a girl who are friends and they just have a close connection, because it's kind of sad when it's like, oh, you can't be my friend because you're a boy.
Yeah, it's true. And also Hannah at her age with her guy friends calls them out on their shit. Like if they're saying
That's what I was gonna say.
or homophobic stuff, she's like, no.
I will
I
be
think
like,
guy
I will get
friendships-
very angry.
She gets very angry and calls them out on bullshit. Which
I think typical male friendships are more surface level, and
Yeah.
women's friendships will be like, will call you out on, like, you know, like you have those real conversations. And I think it is a great value to have male friends when you're a woman, and to have female friends when you're a male, or, you know, male presenting,
yeah.
because I think it's really important to have that other side of the spectrum perspective.
Yeah, and doing that from a young age.
Yeah.
So like the stigma is dropped.
Yeah, totally. And finally, Rizel, please share your thoughts.
Yeah, I think I would just advise my kid to like build their community. I think Cortney kind of touched on this a little bit too, but like being a parent, pregnancy and all that can be isolating, I guess, and lonely at times. And I think in like a lot of North America, we tend to like live like a more like individualistic type of way. So I would say like, don't be like, oh, like I don't know, because the internet's around and stuff like that. We're like, oh, I'll just like be by myself. But it's really important to like build your village and your community, because and then support other people, not so they could support you back, but it's a good benefit to have that circle around you. Also, I don't know if it's rude, but I'm gonna have to leave because I'm pretty sure my team's like waiting on me, or I don't know. They're probably like, hello.
Where are you? Yeah, we did go over, so thank you for staying. And I think this is a good segue for us to end off. So thank you everyone for staying a little bit extra to chat. And thank you everyone who joined, and also recording is going to be available after as well. Loved hearing your stories a lot. Yeah, and until next time, peace out and geek out.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, Cortney.